Let's see, here we go. We might find us here today sometime. I don't know for sure. All right, well, we'll go to this one. All right. So, depending on when you expected us to be here.
Live in 8 minutes. What?
Oh. Wait. Because remember we said it would be live in 8 minutes. That's the problem.
So let's see. Live or not?
I don't know if we're live or not. It says we're live.
Oh, there we are.
There we are.
Person watching.
Anyway, technical difficulties here. Hello. So depending on when you're expecting us, at 1:45 we're late. If you're expecting us at 2, we're early. So you choose. I like the fact that we're early.
I think early's better.
Early's a little better. So in the studio we have Kate. And we also have my bestie, Lindsay. Lindsay hasn't been here in like a year. Actually, you were here a year ago.
I know.
That's kind of cool. Well, like the last 3 years you've been here.
Yeah, one person.
Like this time.
Came for Kate's birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, and you came just in time for my birthday this year.
Yeah.
I know, I made it.
Just barely. By the skin of your teeth. So anyway, what we figured we would do is we are going to finish up Kate's pendant. So if you recall,
let's see. On it since I was 14. Come on.
Switch to this camera. Oh, come on. Why does this not work today? We're having technical difficulties.
We haven't worked on it since I was 14.
You haven't worked on what since you were 14?
Project.
Oh. That is true. We've not worked on this since Kate was 14 years old. So anyway, this is the project. This is what Kate has done so far. In the last video that we did a week ago, no, 2 weeks ago, because last week we didn't do it, 2 weeks ago, she got it to this point. Let's zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this. So she soldered together the 2 rings. So we've got those 2 washers, and then she soldered on and set her stones, 5 stones. So yeah. So that's kind of where we are. She's already got her holes drilled. We have a couple of elements that she would like to rivet on. Now, the thing about these is you'll notice that they are shaped a little differently. They're not flat. And when you are riveting something that is not flat, it actually gets quite difficult. So one pokes upwards, the other one pokes downwards. Pokes?
Yay,
Is that the word?
more work.
So yeah, so there's a few different things that you have to consider when you have elements that are not flat.
It domes upwards.
Right, domes up and domes down, yeah. You know what, I have COVID brain. It's a real thing. That's what I'm blaming it on.
That's what she blames everything that's gone wrong now.
Yes, I can blame it on that. Everything is COVID's fault, right?
Corona.
Oh, good grief. I can't even get this to like stick on my finger. So anyway, this one we have is domed down. And then our other flower.
Technically domed down, we're just not listening to it.
What? Yes. So you have a couple of different things that you need to consider when you do something like this and you're trying to rivet it. Because we are going to be riveting this onto a flat surface.
I like it though.
So David says hit it with a hammer until it's all flat. And that is one of your options that you can choose if you want to do that. So that would definitely be an option. Yeah. Thank you for switching that over. But Kate has decided that she wants to leave them domed. And that's okay because that actually gives us a really good learning experience, right? So Kate, what do you think has to happen? Let's talk about the big flower, okay? This is a convex or concave.
Don't look at me.
I can't remember. My brain is dead. Well, convex, yeah, it is concave. Or no, it's convex. Concave is when you have 2 opposing arches. Okay, so concave would be like the anticlastic. This is a synclastic form, meaning that it all comes up into the same direction. So this one is convex. So this one, you have a flat, so actually both of them are convex, but one you are going to rivet face up and the other one you're riveting face down. Okay, so what do you think you need to do? Because remember, when we rivet, you want to have, convex is the outie, concave is the innie. That is such, I know, I need to remember that. Well, see, here's the thing too, David. When I think of convex and concave, usually I'm talking bracelets, you know, and so the convex is where it just kind of comes around like this all the way around, and you've got that, like you said, it's the outie, right? Okay, and then concave, you're like this, and so it just kind of arches out. But very rarely do I use the little bowls. But this is a concave. What are you doing?
She's getting an example.
Oh, getting some examples. Well, actually, these are both concave, right? The convex, this one is still kind of concave. The convex is still up there.
Oh, there's a ring over here.
That's okay, guys.
This one? Oh, that's still.
Yeah, yes, this one would be our convex. Concave, convex, concave.
Something.
This one's convex. I quit. I'm going back to bed.
Okay, bye guys.
All right, so anyway, when we have something like this, when you rivet, you need to have pressure on both the rivet head and the back, whichever side you are riveting on. But when we all of the sudden stick up, this rivet's going to go down, and if we hammer here, it's just going to crumble because there's nothing to support it, right? So what do you think you could use for this? And I cheated because I already have it here. So we have a dapping set, and what you would do is you would kind of match that dome to whatever ball we are going to use, right?
Works pretty well, or do you want?
No, this one actually works beautifully. Now, let's say though that you did not have a dapping set. Now what do we do? Because obviously we can't put it on a bench block. Oh,
It's messy. But
all right, so she picked up some Thermalock. You know, Thermalock, I don't know, it might still have a little bit too much give. I mean, it might work. I mean, we could always try it, but see. So there's a couple of different riveting systems, right? And one of my friends, Gwen Youngblood, what happened? Did you ding it? It doesn't ding it.
well, it dings it a little bit.
A little bit. Nice. So one of my friends, Gwen Youngblood, has developed a system, and in her system she has these little punches. They're just flat here on the top, and then she has these little spacers so that you cut off and you're left with just enough to flare your rivet for that particular size wire or whatever you're going to use that way. So we'll kind of look at this system a little bit, just because it makes things really, really easy. But you have a lot of options. When you have this kind of a surface where we are inside, okay, and we're going to rivet on the flat so that the inside flares up, then yes, especially on this one, I would jump right to the dapping set. Okay, that one would be a very, very simple solution. So in order for you to do that, let's do this. Let's see what camera we've got available here. Let's see. Yeah, let me get this into position here though. All right, we'll go right there. Yes, that one. Okay, so what's gonna happen is we will take this dap that she chose. Okay, and it actually fits wonderfully right inside of this item. Yep, open that up. We'll slip them down in here.
Oh, should we
Close that baby
the
up.
story of our friend this morning?
Our friend this morning.
With the hummingbird.
Oh, yeah, Kate had a friend show up in the garage and wouldn't leave, poor little thing.
It was John.
Go.
John's like, Lindsay's here.
Yep.
Lindsay's here. I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna sit here until I find her.
So what we would do, and Kate, you keep putting your head right in front of that camera.
Hello.
So what happens is then you're going to have this on here like this.
Look at, you can see Kate's head right
Yeah,
I know,
it's
it's
beautiful,
Kate's
isn't it?
Everybody likes to see Kate's head. So what we would do then is we would get everything laid out right here, and let me zoom in a bit. There we go. Now if you put your head there, now they're not going to be able to see it all.
Okay. I'll be right in bed.
No. All right, so this is definitely a two-person operation when you get into doing this, right? Now, I happen to know that this is 16 gauge. Do you remember what millimeter measurement 16 gauge is? Yeah, the chart's like way over there, dude.
No, that hurt.
Oh, it's about 1.3 millimeters. Well, that's what you get. Get back over here.
Oh.
Come on. So, Kate's trying to like roll her around in here on a
Bang my leg.
on a stool in the studio. So 16 gauge is also approximately 1.3 millimeters. Now with Gwen's system, she has these little spacers and she has them set up for 16 gauge, 18 gauge, and 14 gauge, which is, do you remember the millimeters on those? 1 millimeter, 1.3, and 1.6 millimeters. Is basically what that comes out to be. And what you do is, notice that there's two holes. So you could either do it in the center hole if you happen to have enough space, but if you don't have enough space, because sometimes you're working in tight areas, then you can use this little one here. Now, Kate, do you remember what we have to do next?
Cut it.
Yes, and when you cut this, I'll hold this and you show them what to do. Right?
Can I do it without being in the way?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, our hands are in the way, but that's fine. Go ahead and...
Wait.
So, okay, yeah, there you go. Perfect. So what she's done is she's put the cutters right up against... Now, hang on. Your cutters are tilted up.
I know, it's because I was trying to...
Yeah, well, don't...
I'm not going to cut
Move this hand for a second. Okay, so when you do this, you would come in and you just put your cutter straight flat on that spacer. And what the spacer is going to do is ensure that we have enough of the material left over. All right, so, and then she's holding the top of that rivet so it doesn't fly off and poke us in the eyeballs. Go ahead and cut it.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Okay. And then when we remove this, notice that we have just this little bit right here,
Now
which is all we needed.
See where his camera?
Right there. And that was what she cut off. Okay, so with that done, Kate, you want to go ahead and rivet this?
Okay. I don't remember what we do first.
You don't remember what we do first? Okay, well then it's a good thing I'm here, right?
Yeah, because
So I have this little hammer. I love this little hammer. It's my favorite little hammer for riveting.
Hammering it?
We go straight to hammering it.
Okay, I was thinking we had
So,
something
yep.
else first.
Nope, so you just go straight to hammering it. And what you want to make sure that happens is that you have that strong connection with your metal surface down here, right? Our steel surface. We want to pinch this rivet in between two steel surfaces. So one surface is your hammer and the other is your block. Or in this case, okay, now you are hitting it at kind of an angle.
Sorry, I can't even get a good hit.
There you go. Okay. Yep, and you want to just make sure you get that nice good hit right on it.
Oh gosh, sorry.
Yeah, that was my finger.
Sorry!
Okay, so stop there. So this is actually now riveted, but what's happened is she has a flat spot that tilts down.
I'm trying to fix
so
it. I'm
if
trying
we
to
look
like
at
that.
this side, it's coming up. So when you are riveting, you want to kind of move your piece around to however you...
I can't
So you
do
want
it
to move
off of it.
Yeah, you want to move the piece around. Now the thing I like about this hammer is that it's got two rounded heads. One's very small and one's very big. And then what I'll do is I will actually get it flat and it kind of gives me a sharp edge, but then I come around on this edge. My blind isn't bad anymore, oh my goodness. And I just kind of hit those sides and it mushrooms it. And now I have this beautiful little bald head right on here. And if I feel it, I still catch. Like there's a catch right there.
And that is what we don't want.
We definitely don't want. So
We don't want it catching on hair, on clothing, on anything.
Right. So we want to just keep coming in and see how I rotate this around, dude? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's kind of what we want to do to be able to do that. And now we have our little piece. Check that out.
And now the part on the inside is kind of domed.
It is a little bit domed, isn't it? This particular piece did kind of dome. Now, we didn't have to we did not have to hammer the front side on this one. Why?
Because when we were hammering the back, it was kind of like putting it...
No, in this case, it started out as a nail head, right?
So it was flat and then...
It already had a head on it. If it did not have a head on this, then we would have had to flare that out. But because the hole was already so big on this piece, we went with one that had a wider head to begin with, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when we go to this piece, this one has an even wider hole. So, and typically when you do riveting, you want your hole to be the same size as your wire.
But I don't want that.
Well, but typically you do. So that's where you would use
I'm just not normal.
This is where you would like usually sandwich a piece of metal or something else like that inside of that, right? So in this case now, we have our piece curving the opposite direction.
Because if we curved it upwards, it doesn't look as cool.
Right. So Kate, one of the things, and this you could actually do. Now there is a hollow spot underneath, right? There is a hollow spot there. But I think you'd still be okay.
Yeah.
Right? And notice that what it does is it just kind of bends itself around the washer, which is kind of a cool effect as well.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? Okay. Now, do you need to do it on this?
No.
No. Matter of fact, I wouldn't do it on this. Why not?
That'd probably ruin your piece.
I don't know that you'd ruin your piece, but it definitely would be more difficult to hold, right? Yep. So why don't you switch us back to, yes, that camera right there. So let me move this guy out of here. And what we're going to do, I need to adjust these cameras. They are pointed in the wrong places. Let me adjust this a bit.
It was now hammer time.
I know it was.
And it's difficult to like hammer a piece when someone else is holding it.
Yes, it is. Well, unless you're really good with your hammer, right? Once you get better with your hammering techniques, then it's much better. All right, so you tell me, what do we need to do here?
Flip it over and cut it.
Okay, so flip it over and cut it.
Or we also looked at it, if we really wanted to, you could put like a little bead there.
Yes, if you wanted to support that dome that's inside of this, we have these little beads, but they are glass, so you have to be really careful. They look like they're silver, but they're not. You do have the ability to put that in. However, it does give us quite a raised section here. And with that, that's definitely a catching point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you could catch on hair and clothes and everything with that particular.
And I don't like the look of it sticking up so far either.
I agree with you. And I kind of like that, where it just kind of nestles itself right around that washer. Mm-hmm. I mean, while we still have a little bit of space under there, I don't think it's going to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And like this piece will still catch on things, just not as much.
It will. Yeah, you definitely have some catching points for hair and whatnot. Definitely.
Maybe we'll eat it with the piece over there and we'll hang it up on the wall.
Okay, now here's going to be your problem. How do you get this close enough? Look at this. Look at what's happening here. See how it sticks up above it?
Do you want to know how you do it?
Yes, I want to know how you do it.
How I would do it, I would take this here, and then pull that up and have someone else cut it.
Okay, but you're off the screen.
Sorry.
Okay, so that would be one thing. Now, I very, very rarely have other people in the studio. So how could I do this if you're at school? Here's how it, don't do it. We need to have some other solutions on this. So what I would do is I would move this off the screen apparently.
This is my answer.
No.
It's my answer to everything.
Thermalock. Nope. So notice that what I did was I just moved the elements that were causing us to be up. You just move those off of your block, and that way they can hang down, and now we have our connection point. Okay?
And now I cut it.
Now you can cut it. Okay, so good. She's holding on to the wire again so it doesn't go flying. And once again, we are now left with just enough right there.
Okay, can I get it?
Okay. Yeah, but you're going to have to come over here to do it so that you stay on camera. Okay, you got that?
Can I stay on camera?
Here, why don't you take my position? Okay, let's get it into position though so you're on the camera.
No, but can I like move it over here?
Yes, there you go.
Because that's easier for me.
Here, let's, right there. So that way they can at least see what they're doing.
It's easier for me on this side.
Yeah. Okay, so wait. Okay, now the other thing that you need to make certain is that you've got this sitting flat, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. Okay, and that looks good. So in this case, she's actually just hammered it so that it's totally flat. And that's good too. You don't have to do it so that you have the dome. When we look here at the front, we will see our piece now is riveted into place.
Tilted.
Well done, Kate. So not too bad, right? But a couple different things that you need to consider when you have these curved elements or formed elements, right?
Yep.
Looks like a little snowman, little snow girl. You know?
Mrs. Snowman.
Mrs. Snowman, yeah. Mrs. Snowman.
Or it could be an 8.
So yes, David, I totally need some helping hands sometimes. And it definitely
Who's going to invent it?
You're going to invent it? You're going to invent helping hands?
Sure. I said, who's going to invent it?
Oh, who's going to invent it?
I'll invent it for you.
You're going to invent helping hands?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll invent some for you.
You know, so I was watching that movie Big Fish yesterday. You've seen that one, right?
What's that?
Big Fish. You have to watch it. It's cute.
Is it the
It's an older show. It's the one...
Oh, you were watching before I went to bed?
Yeah, last night. Yes. Yeah. But one of the inventions that they have is this helping hands, and it's got this hand, and it's got like each hand has some kind of a like a corkscrew or a pocket knife or something like that. Not that I think it would help here in the studio very much, but
I would have stayed up and watched it with you, but I was dying.
you were dying.
I was dying.
Yeah. Headaches make you die.
Yes.
Not too fun, huh? But anyway, so that is that. So the next thing then that you need to do, Kate, is what?
Jumping.
A jump ring. Or some way of connecting your item or piece, right?
Jumping.
All right, so you want to do a jump ring. How do you want the jump ring to be? Do you actually want the jump ring to go around your washer? Or do you want your... Let's see, move this. Here's,
Oh, that's not good.
what? Oh, look at that. Something was not soldered into place. That's definitely not good.
Now what?
Because our setting is already done. Okay, well, that's a good question. Now what? Now what do? We have a design change that has to happen. Okay. And you know what? Isn't that crazy how that happens sometimes? Like everything, like we pulled and we tugged and it went into the pickle, everything. And now we find out that it's unsoldered. Yeah. So what are our options? Because hitting this with a torch is definitely not an option.
Glue.
Because we have... What? Did you just say that 4-letter word? What? Oh my goodness.
Although, how many people do you think would actually do that?
Glue would still not hold this well. Like it might be a temporary fix, but it's definitely not a good fix.
You glue it once a year.
In my studio, we could fix this, but not everybody's studio could you do that.
Okay, but we're fixing it because we're in your studio.
So in my studio, how would you fix this?
I don't know.
Sure you do.
No, I don't.
It's hot, but it doesn't require a torch.
I don't know.
Sure you do.
Heat gun?
No. Okay, heat gun is still gonna melt your little pewter items. Sure you do. What kind of awesome tools do I have in the studio that would allow us to fix that? Yes. What is that? Because they don't understand pointing. Oh, you're such a dork. It's
what she said.
So yes, it is the welder. Now, okay, but let's say you don't have a welder. What can we do?
Buy a welder.
What? Buy a welder? Well, sure, if you got like $8 grand or something, just run out and get one. It's no big deal.
They sell it at all the gas stations. What are you talking about?
No, okay, so I think now putting this tube setting on, the only way that you really would be able to put this on if you don't have the welder would be probably to epoxy that, which by the way is a 4-letter word in the studio, but it would be an
Grab
option.
my clay epoxy, we could do that.
Well, so I think though that let's just change our design element, okay? I mean, we have 2 riveted elements. A third one is still going to give us some nice balance.
I really liked them.
I know you did. Okay.
Well, if we did the epoxy thing, we could make it look like there's little vines through it.
I think you'd still have a hard time even with your epoxy. So what she's talking about is there's an epoxy clay. It's A-P-O-X-I-E, not epoxy, but epoxy. And that's a clay that people use sometimes in jewelry or whatever else, but it is an epoxy clay.
Okay, let's go weld it together.
So, okay, so David said we could drill a hole through the back, pop the gem out, rivet it, sand it flat, and add the gem back in. And that is quite a good solution. And that would be one that would be a very good solution for this. So now you would have to do a rivet inside of. So what would have to happen is you would have to solder your tube setting onto a back plate, right? So now it has a solid tube. And maybe that's what we'll do in this next video. That gave us a great video option.
Okay, we'll be back next time. Bye.
You're ready to jump out already? So we could solder an element, right? A back plate onto this. You drill a hole into that, and then you rivet. Will you go grab that spinny flower piece? It's right here in the filming station.
Well, you know, I just go solder. Not solder. I never weld it.
Okay, so I want to show you something. See this piece here? This piece here? Okay, so let me show you what this piece can do. This piece is kind of awesome. This piece is riveted, all right? And it is riveted underneath this setting right here. Now, in this case, I didn't solder just a back plate. I actually soldered the tube setting onto this flower. So this flower becomes my back plate, right? So with that, then I drill a hole inside of my tube on this back plate. And you use, in this case, there's a stem here that allows this piece to spin, right? So we had to have that stem that would allow for this to happen.
I think if you tried to add a third one, it would have been better if that was over there, that was over there, and then it would have been like...
When it would have bounced, yeah. I agree. So I think then what we ought to do...
Weld it back on.
No, I don't think we should weld it. Because copper and silver welding is actually really difficult, and you're going to make a big mess of it. And you'll never have as clean of a look as this. Okay. David, isn't this fun? So this is an online class that I taught last year. I need to turn it into an actual online workshop. It was one that I did with Metalworks. But yeah, I love how this one turned out. And if you do it right, it spins just beautifully like that. Right, so, but this is a rivet. And by the way, I'm teaching a riveting workshop in Metalworks, and we'll talk about this kind of a connection in that workshop as well. And that's coming up in September, and again, it's online. So I believe it's September 21st and 23rd. So I'm just kind of getting everything all ready for that. So today's lesson was kind of apropos because I was submitting all my riveted elements as well.
The one balances and that other one is...
Yes. Okay, you're getting like kind of ADD on me today. So anyway, I don't think we should do it today because we're not really set up for this. But, and we're not going to do it with this particular setting. I will have you weld this setting onto something because I want you to see what that's like. But this one, I would say, let's set this guy aside for now. Let's do a new one with a fresh tube setting.
Don't you love my beautiful piece? Look at how amazing it turned out.
And we will rivet that onto this. Okay. So what do you think about that?
More work.
It is definitely more work, but you know what? It happens. I mean, it just happened right here on my video. It happens. And you now have to kind of figure out how to work with that. You know, and like I said, I mean, we do have the welder, but not everybody has that, so that's not a great solution.
What do you mean? Everyone could just like buy one, right?
Right. It's just chump change. So, but I do think that we will have a lesson on welding that onto something but not today. And not on Tuesday
Okay, wait,
either.
how many people that are watching have a welder?
I'll
Curious
bet,
now.
I'll bet if, okay, so right now we only have 20 people that are watching live. Because we're not very popular right now. But we do have 20 people that are watching us. And I would bet out of that, maybe you would have one, if that. That's still pretty high odds. That's still really high odds. Because really the people that usually have a welder are going to be in the fine jeweler shop. And they use them for a lot for retipping and maybe some ring sizing, but that's not something that you would find in a studio typically like mine, where we do all the fabrication and you know, things like
tools. You are the tool queen.
that. Of course I'm the tool queen.
We'd make like your coffin out of all the tools.
You're gonna make a coffin of all the tools? Is that how you're gonna bury me?
Yeah, then you have all your tools. You're ready for heaven.
I think God probably has better tools, don't you think?
Does he?
I think so.
Does he have your tools?
In our
I
heaven,
think
he
so.
does.
Tool heaven.
So David said he has welding, or a welder, but it's for welding steel. His is like a normal size one. Mine's a micro TIG welder. Do you know what TIG stands for? A tungsten inert gas. So it uses a tungsten probe and it uses an inert gas. And in this case, it's argon. Do you remember what inert means? It won't blow up. So unlike propane or acetylene or butane, it's not going to catch fire the way that those gases do.
Are we sure TIG isn't short for Tigger?
Sure, it can be short for Tigger, a Tigger welder.
I forgot.
So anyway, okay, so that gives us a new option that we now have to cover. And not only that, but it poses a new problem because again, we now have a surface that's going to be pointing up and we have to rivet inside of that. She's so excited. She's like, I don't know about this. Yes, so I think that will be a really, really good lesson for you.
Right, now I need to say thank you for all the birthday wishes from the other.
Oh, yes, you should totally do that.
Thank you. Okay.
For all of the birthday wishes. So, okay, so I think then we'll go ahead and call it a day just because we're not set up for this and we've got a few other things that have to be done today. Oh my goodness, I'm so stressed. Whew, knocking things off that list though.
Giving her jobs so she can have like a month to catch up.
I'm the one who takes on the jobs, Dingbat.
Stop!
Anyway, well, it's not my fault that the remodel's not done yet. And the wedding is 3 weeks from today. So in 3 weeks, we're not going to be having this live session. Actually, we wouldn't anyway, because you start school in a week and a half.
That's weird.
I know. So we've got like next week. That's the only time we can do, maybe we could do videos the next week after that. I don't remember. All right, so David says it's not just to prevent fire, it's also to stop oxidation. Yes, that is true, of the metal in its molten state, which helps it flow better and gives the solid weld. So the gas, it gives you a shield. It's kind of like flux. So when it goes off, but it is kind of nice that it is inert and doesn't blow up on you. So that is nice too. But yeah, it acts as that shield. So it's called a shielding gas. Okay, so what we will plan on doing on Tuesday then is we are going to repair our little piece. We should be able to finish that and set it and set your stone and get the rivet done.
Jumping.
And then you're
That's not a
jumping.
But jumping.
Okay,
And then
so
chain goes through that.
are you going to do the jump ring where it goes around and inside of this, or are you going to drill a hole and put the jump ring in?
I was planning on doing it that it goes around.
Where it just goes around it? Mm-hmm. During the wedding. Do it during the wedding. You think we should do that?
Live wedding session.
There you go. Jump on live.
Be like, yeah, she's getting married right now. Shh.
Yeah, she doesn't get married till 4. Like, we could totally make it. Like, pictures are at 2. We could totally do it. Kate doesn't like that idea. You should see the look she just gave me. Just cancel the wedding and have class. There we go. Riley would be like totally on board for that, I'm sure. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is how far behind we are.
I mean, I'm skipping
I sent out wedding invites today.
Mama, I'm skipping school for the wedding.
You are skipping school for the
Why
wedding.
are you making me
Actually, no, you don't even have to because you don't have to go to the wedding.
But I'm gonna.
Yeah, you are. You are gonna miss school that day. All right, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and call it for the day. Thank you for joining us. So hopefully it was at least informational, you learned something. And then the next one should be quite informational. So we'll have some more soldering, some riveting, and stone setting, and jump ring placement.
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff, yes. All right, any questions on what has to be done? Tell them how excited you are to do this. I know you are.
So excited.
I know, look at her. She's just like, I can't wait. All right, you guys, you have a wonderful day, and we will see you guys on Tuesday. We'll try to be on 1:45. Like I said, when I try to set up and schedule the time, it doesn't allow me to pick 1:45 anymore. So we'll probably be on sometime between 1:45 and 2. So jump in there sometime. So thank you, Diane. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And thank you for all your comments, Diane and David. Anybody else comment? Yeah, I was gonna say we had somebody else, didn't we? Nope. Oh, Iris commented. Hello, Iris. So, all right, you guys, we will see you on Tuesday.
Yep.
Have a wonderful weekend. Bye. Maybe, if we do this.
Okay, tell you to go.
And there we go.